Hey, everybody. I'm Dr. Lance Knob with Denali Consulting and 4% Breakthrough Communities. And I'm here today with Alex Tholl and Adam Hecht, owners of DiveDesign.
What's going on, Lance? Thanks for having us.
Hey.
Welcome, guys. So I see so many entrepreneurs who are desperate to try to get the right clients and really just miserable with some of the people that they're working with. How have you guys done it in only 2 years of working full-time in your business, gotten to a place where you're saying no to the wrong clients and yes to the right clients?
All right, so we have to preface this by saying that we're still working on it every day, but we've gotten to a point now where saying no is a lot easier, and for a long time it was really difficult. But when Adam and I first started the company, it was a very traditional industrial design firm. We were taking on anything and everything that we could, whether it was graphics, prototyping, 3D printing, rendering, animations, you name it, anything to get some money in the door, we were doing. And it was only a matter of time until we were getting fed up and frustrated with having to manage 30 different contractors, manage ourselves, manage all the different prototypes coming in and out, that we were just feeling very burnt out from it all. And we kept hearing this over and over. You have to be niche, you have to be specific, you have to refine. And it wasn't until, about 7 months ago that it finally really clicked for us, because we felt that our direction and where we had pivoted to was exactly where we wanted to be and where we wanted to grow to.
Yeah, it really took finding where we fit, because, people kept asking us, like Alex said, what are you specializing in? And we didn't know, because we didn't have the expertise. It wasn't until we tried everything that we realized what really resonated with us, and we were able to make the decision to get more specific. And at that point, everything just continued to get clearer, and jobs got better, and ultimately everybody got happier.
No, that's great. I mean, even just pre-interview, right? We were just talking about the power of niches and the power of segmentation, just really refining that. And I think, what you just said, Adam, is magic. It's part of the secret sauce. Someone just shared, something with me. Trying to remember who it was. I think it might've been Brendan Bouchard, who just really was talking about rethinking things and fine tuning. And, many companies fail because they're not measuring and making those adjustments and pivots. So let's talk about the niche I know you guys are really passionate about in serving, additive manufacturing. That word just blows my mind. I just love hearing it. And I know you guys have a pretty cool company, 3D Pets, right? And are making innovative, solutions, including prosthetics for pets who can't walk and who can't live. And, definitely want the listeners to actually be able to see some of that, because the results just speak for themselves. You have to actually, see it to fully appreciate it. So tell us about this niche and all this stuff.
So like I had mentioned, we started with very traditional industrial design. And that's really what we had known. That's what we went to school for. And that's what the company started out as. Our first full year in business was actually 2020. So the beginning of the pandemic. And we were realizing that, we were enjoying the work, but we weren't enjoying the clients. And there were even some projects that were just like so consuming that we were just losing focus and losing steam. And so right around mid 2021, we had said to ourselves, what's something that we're doing really well with, that we're inadvertently helping our clients with, but we're not thinking about. And it kept coming back to 3D printing, additive manufacturing. We've been solving really complex problems using that and other technologies. We've been applying it to prototypes that we were developing, and we were doing some really fun videos with it. And through all of that, it just started to come together that we were becoming really well versed in additive manufacturing. And so over the course of the last 6-7 months, we've just been honing in on that.
Yeah, when we were doing product design, of course, you make prototypes, you use 3D printing to test things. And, like most people, that's how we saw it, a way to test and prototype, but we didn't really see it as a big solution or the next frontier, what a lot of people characterize it as, until we started to do the animal prosthetics. We met a business that was struggling with conventional processes to make devices. And so we thought, hey, let's try 3D printing. Nobody's really made a prosthesis with that technology before, but maybe something could work out. And ultimately we realized it was the golden answer. That with the right software, it completely changed the business and now an industry in a lot of ways. It's now moving into the human prosthetics realm. So, seeing that combination really showed us the potential for 3D printing. And so that got us really excited and inspired us to continue shifting our business around that, because we thought, what other businesses could benefit from it? There's not a lot of companies helping people to take advantage of that.
I mean, mind you, we were solving supply chain issues, we were solving material supply issues, we were solving logistics issues, and we were solving labor issues with this, with these 3D printing technologies and some basic software tools that we were developing. And at the time, I don't think we really understood the magnitude of that and how much it can change a business. But that's really the reason that we decided to launch 3D Pets, is because it was scaling. We wanted to have control of the process, and we knew that not only would that be a great case study for our clients, but it'd be great for us to continue to grow and continue to innovate in that space.
Well, all the pet lovers and just, anyone who just loves to see, humans or animals like thriving will be totally blown away when they see some of your before and after work with 3D Pets. So it's pretty incredible. Are you able to actually give us an example or a case study of some 3D printing, a business that you've helped this way?
Yeah. What do you think? Should we start with the valves? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all very exciting. Every time we find an opportunity to use 3D printing, it means that a business is getting better, evolving, embracing new technology. So whether it's in healthcare with animal prosthetics on the human side, or even in the industrial sector, I mean, people don't realize how much potential there is for 3D printing. People think, small prototypes and toys, but, we're working with companies that are building waste treatment systems, with parts they're ordering from around the world. And when something can't come in time, or it's not made anymore, or something breaks, well, they're left stranded with these massive systems down. So, by coming in and exploring 3D printing technologies, we're able to help businesses like this to go around these challenges. So instead of having to wait 6 weeks for something to get made and shipped in from overseas, we're able to help them 3D print it maybe an hour away from their facility and deliver it next day. And I mean, this changes the game when it comes to getting custom parts made, lead times, cost per part. There's so many new materials coming out and technologies. I mean, there's just so much potential for it. So, there's so many examples like that, but it takes continually seeing what's out there on the material side, on the printer side, and piecing it together to solve those problems. And that's what we've enjoyed doing so much of.
This business, I don't think would have worked 5 years ago, because the material, like Adam's saying, and the machine has to be in sync with each other. And the material options that were on the market 5 years ago weren't at a point where a majority of the companies that could potentially utilize it in the manufacturing space or the industrial space, it just wouldn't have worked. And so now that timing has really come into play, where the consulting side of our business really works and really can change the way these guys do business and fight all these challenges they're facing, especially with the pandemic.
Yeah, it's amazing how many times people tell us it's not possible, because somebody had tried it maybe 5-10 years ago with 3D printing and it wasn't possible then,
right.
But now it is. And, it's a very exciting conversation to have when they do realize it can happen.
I think there's a level too. When we started, we were a bit naive, and we were saying, oh yeah, we can definitely do that, without truly knowing. Obviously we do now, but we wouldn't have gotten into the pet industry if we hadn't been naive and said, oh, we're sure we can figure out a way to do this. And obviously that's spiraled into so many other great opportunities.
So I know you had some really special numbers from working closely with you of just like turnarounds in performance. Share a little bit about that with some of the, the additive and 3D companies that you're working with. Give us a little taste of the results.
So I'll give you a little bit of clarity. I'm going to use Ford Motor Company as an example, and then I'll pull in an example from one of our clients. So Ford obviously manufactures cars. They manufacture a majority of the parts that go into their cars, one of them being the rear end of cars. They're heavy duty trucks. They have these big ring gears that go in the back, and the jig that holds them in place has these metal fingers, and they damage so many parts a year that adds up to be like 1.1 million in damages that they have to write off. It's just, they didn't have a solution for it. And it wasn't until they integrated 3D printing to replace these very intricate special arms that hold these ring gears that they stopped damaging these parts, because they were making it out of a plastic rubber material that can't scrape or dent the metal. And so they almost completely eliminated their damage costs by implementing additive manufacturing. And so a part, one of these fingers that once cost $15 to replace and would damage part, they're now replacing with a $1 part that doesn't damage. these ring gears. So that's a very, high level example. So for one of our clients, Adam mentioned the waste management treatment centers, and they use some of these really large industrial valves. Our client was spending thousands of dollars for a single unit of what they make. And we were able to bring that cost down to just a couple $100s. And I have the numbers here that we had just approximated based on their profit, but they were like staggering. I mean, we completely changed the business model. And mind you, they were having a lot of supply chain issues. They were really struggling with getting their existing parts from overseas. And so it was kind of paramount that they found another option. And like Adam said earlier too, they had tried 3D printing years ago, but it wasn't there. The material technology wasn't there. The machine technology wasn't there. And it was just a matter of time. But if my math's correct, we turned what was an 8% profit margin into a 46% profit margin by implementing additive manufacturing. So it's crazy. It's crazy. You almost can't believe that number, but it's what it comes down to when you pair the right material and technology.
Well, that probably leads us into the next thing. We would be remiss, right, if we didn't give Ainsley Maloney a shout out, your bookkeeper who introduced us, right? And Ainsley and myself are massive proponents of like a profit first mentality, right? If your business isn't, profitable, not just on paper, but by cash flow, you can't serve anyone. So,
I mean, we had to take a step even further back. Ainsley was our
Yeah.
college career counselor who kind of pushed us to start the business while we were seniors. And so,
and tell us about that, right? Tell us about this competition. Yeah, give us the quick story.
when Adam and I were freshmen in college, we were paired up to work on this design competition for healthcare. It was helping with assistive device tech. And we ended up placing first in this 2-day competition. That's kind of how this relationship formed. And then being in design class over the years, our work and our ethics just continued to grow closer and closer together. And like I had said, Ainsley was our college career counselor and knew the freelance work that we were doing and was like, oh, you guys are starting a firm. That's amazing. I'm going to help you with all these different resources. I'm going to connect you with all these different people. And then as soon as we graduated, she was like, oh, by the way, I do bookkeeping on the side. You guys definitely need that. And of course, we were like, absolutely. And she's been pivotal, obviously, throughout this. So we'll be eternally grateful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Definitely thrilled to work with her and support you guys as well. So definitely. Well, I'll have to get up to Boonton as well and see you guys. We're all right here in New Jersey. So Adam, let's talk to you a little bit. How is DiveDesign unique? And, going back to this segmentation, this marketing, really the theme of today, how, who's your ideal client? What do they exactly look like? How do you describe them?
Yeah, so being unique is something that's been really important to us. Like we said, when we started the business, we were not only competing with every other product design company because there's thousands in the U.S., but we were trying to be the best. And many had 30, 40, 50 years head start to us. So we came to the point where we realized like we need to stop trying to compete with everyone. Look at what's out there. Look at what the opportunities are. Look at what's time sensitive. And start to become unique. And, we asked ourselves, what makes us unique? Well, we, on one hand, really love the technology side of design, right? Implementing new manufacturing processes like 3D printing, but also on the marketing side, we were helping our clients to, like I said, because we were doing everything, we were helping to also try to scale products. So creating marketing videos and graphic design and websites. And we realized in the additive manufacturing or 3D printing world, there's not a lot of good marketing. I mean, it's still so new. And it's run by engineers developing these technologies. Well, the storytelling side of this is really lacking.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Like there's just things either they're just biased because it's written by the company making the technology or a marketing company that doesn't understand 3D printing or the real value and can't really piece together a proper story. Or they're having so many challenges cutting through all of like the hype of the past 10 years of 3D printing that it's just not landing for many people. But here we are living it day to day, seeing the power, the impact that it's having. Well, we realized maybe we can help tell those stories. Maybe we can help solve the problems and then tell the success stories to really get other people excited and to help other businesses, but also to help 3D printing companies to reach more audiences, to better connect with the industries who just still aren't sure, who still just don't trust the new processes and aren't willing to make that initial investment to even just explore 3D printing. So, we've really become unique in that we've paired 3D printing, the marketing, and the design in order to close that loop, to connect the gap between, the marketing reaching customers, but also the amazing new technologies that are coming out.
So how have you done that specifically? Yeah, even connect the dots for us a little bit more to make sure everyone can understand.
Yeah, so it was really creating the really strong 3 pillars in our business. So the product design side, where we took all of our expertise as far as designing really compelling products that connect with people, that serve a need. That's just, good practice. The marketing side, right, the right tools to create really high quality content. And then on the 3D printing side, having that expertise, being aware of the latest in trends, technologies, materials, being completely up to date. Because when you pair those 3 sections together, that's when you have a full story, right? You have an amazing design where you're solving a real problem. You have, a company that's getting moved into the future, right? They're cutting costs, saving time, whatever that might be, and a new technology that's making that all possible. And that's exactly what these 3D printing companies need to share, because right now they don't have the case studies, they don't have the content, they don't have the social media, they don't have those assets you need in order to show more people what's possible. So by bringing those pieces together, well, we're giving them that ammunition to really make an impact, to really get into the industry and show, how they can change how things have been done for decades, if not, more in certain cases. So we just found that those 3 pieces that most marketing companies don't have, where most design companies don't do the marketing, bringing it together, we have something really unique.
So the flip side to that too, which is really beautiful, is because we're so ingrained now in all of these AM technologies, that's short for additive manufacturing, where we understand the new machines that are coming out, we understand the new materials that are coming out, we're doing the marketing for these pieces. We also know how it can apply to our clients who want to integrate it. Right. And so that's why being in this seat is so pivotal, is because we're seeing both sides extremely clearly. We're seeing some of our consultant clients' challenges in supply chain and whatnot, and we're understanding what processes on the AM side can apply effectively to them. There's hundreds of options out there, mind you. There's not just one type of 3D printing with one type of material. It's endless. It's truly endless. And trying to navigate that on your own is extremely difficult. And so that's why it's so important to make sure you truly understand what technology you're going to be applying, because it's going to determine what your ROI is. It's going to determine your margins. It's going to determine everything.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I love what you're doing, and you just spoke my love language by leading us into return on investment, right, and value, because you're creating like objective metrics, measuring success, kind of proving success, right, validating your case, and then at the same time, by having these ideal clients that you're serving, helping them connect the dots and recognize that they're achieving 46% profitability from 8%. And then, just asking them if they'll be a case study so you can put it out to the world, right? So they're getting free, / no cost, marketing and PR, and you are as well. So it's the ultimate win-win-win. I love it. So nice job. So, I'm curious with 2 leaders, right? How do you guys divide up the roles and responsibilities and make sure you guys are each in your, zone of fire? How do you guys do that?
I think, like anything, practice. I mean, we got very lucky in that we met so early in college. So we had 4 years to get to know each other. I mean, partnering and finding the right partner is a whole other conversation, because it's so important. There's just so many intricacies to that. But we got very lucky in that when we first met, we knew we had complementary skill sets, just the way we thought about things, the way we went about solving problems, what we enjoyed spending our time on. We're just, the two sides you needed to really start a business. And, moving forward, having done a lot together, we realized at first there was a lot of overlap because, frankly, we just didn't have a lot to do initially. It was, very specific projects, very, like, as in the projects were smaller, right? So we might just be doing a website where we're both working on the same thing. But as we grew as the projects got larger and we really started to have our own roles, whether it was on the marketing strategy side or on the business, managing the books, we always just kind of fell one way or the other.
And that was really good too. That, Adam mentioned learning that. It's not something that you're taught in school. It's something that you really have to fall into and have to continue to enjoy. And for us, we were doing the same things for a long time together just because we were so small. But, like he's saying, as you grow, you really have to figure out what parts of the business you want to continue to grow and scale, and make sure your partner is running that other side. And I think we're continuing to learn. There's no doubt about it. But I've always been really happy in the direction that it's taken. And that's the other thing too that Adam mentioned is like, you have to get to know your partner. Like, you have to go through that like dating process, if you will, before you get married. We've seen and we've heard horror stories just throughout the years. And, it's just pivotal to how your company can grow and scale.
Yeah, if you have two people trying to wear the same hat, well, you're going to have conflict. So, there are some areas that we do overlap, and in those areas, we just have to set clear boundaries, right? Who's wearing what hats, so that when decisions need to be made, we can make them without too much conflict. So, it's nice sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to touch, what you're doing. That's not something I have any interest in, but there are times where, we both want to solve the same problem, and either we work together or we set those boundaries. And I think that's really essential.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, partnership's not easy, and a lot of partnerships fail. And, at Breakthrough, we use the same analogy of like getting to know each other and dating before we got married, as equity partners. So, no, I think definitely people should really get to know each other and respect that. However, even this morning, I was talking to some wealth advisors, and they were sort of, they're really growing fast and trying to figure out their current, org board and, even plan for the future. And there was almost like it came into the conversation, well, I'm never going to get to create my dream role, like all the things I love and I'm good at. I'm going to have to do some things, even just yesterday in my day, like I had, too much documentation, in my physical therapy hat, still treating patients. And, it just made me assess that. What are you guys' thoughts on this? How do you guys really do what you love and what you're good at? And are you always going to have to do some things that you don't want to?
We have this talk at least weekly. About optimize. You there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Sorry, we lost you for a second. Anyway, we have this talk weekly about how we can continue to delegate tasks and grow away from the monotony of a lot of the day-to-day things. We were talking yesterday. We spent half the day catching up on emails that accrued over the course of one day. Both of us dealing with like either similar emails or completely different emails. And there's just a lot of things that we can continue to do that will optimize. Our junior industrial designer, Vince, has taken a ton of weight off of our shoulders, and we've continued to navigate and understand what's appropriate for him to take on, what's appropriate for an intern to take on, what's appropriate for an associate to take on. So every day it's a learning process.
The two big tools that we have are the systems that we create and the team that we build. Those are, I think, the most important parts in order to, for us to define what we do in the day-to-day. Well, if there's a system where something becomes automated in a sense, as in software, for example, automating a part of the process, that we've removed a hat from ourselves. But if there's a team member who, for example, we have a ton of 3D printers, and for the longest time, it was Alex and I fixing every single 3D printer at all times. And sometimes that's a 4 to 5 hour process. So we realized, hey, why don't we bring on an intern, an engineering student who really loves working on 3D printers, and maybe that'll help to save some time. And that's where we started, and that's turned into a position. So now Alex and I are no longer wearing that hat, and we've been able to focus on other things like growing the business
For the most part.
Yeah, occasionally we have to step in, but it's decisions like that really help to grow and evolve the business. But it's knowing when to bring someone on, when to wear that hat for a little bit longer. It's always finding that right balance.
I mean, you have to remember, like we're running a company that really has no prior existing business model to work from or reference. We're pulling pieces from a lot of different places to make this new model work and learn what's working and learn what's not working and move away from it. This isn't like starting a coffee shop where you know you're going to have 5 different blends of coffee and 5 different types of tea, and you're going to have 3 different cup sizes. It's just totally different. And so every day it's a learning process for us. So what ingredients are working here? What ingredients aren't? What are we keeping? What are we losing? And so, as long as we continue to think that way, I think, and our growth shows it, I think we're going to continue to see success.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think your focus on the people and processes, right? You use the word systems and your team, I think as important as, processes and systems are, I think you've got the right emphasis on it, people slightly first. Like I feel the business's most valuable asset is their people. However, they totally go hand in hand, and it's no accident. It's a tribute to you guys that you guys are having really steep growth and innovating and pioneering, a whole new field and with a whole new, segment and specialty and additive manufacturing. So nice job. So that probably takes us into, a couple like lessons learned and takeaways. What are some of the biggest, takeaways each of you guys want to share with everyone today?
I think, from this conversation, what's really standing out to me is, the lesson we learned of really living real time, right? Because we aren't the experts at everything, especially in such a new industry, new business. I mean, like Alex said, there's no path for us to follow necessarily. So being in the moment, as far as like taking things day by day, when things change, addressing them, or if things aren't going as anticipated, addressing them, right? Continually assessing and evolving and, reassessing like new challenges as they come in. That's how we realized we needed to get more specific. We were like realizing, we're doing all of this work, we're doing so many things, but we're not growing. Why is that? It took the mindfulness to stop and say, all right, why are we not moving forward? And to see what we could cut out, see what we can test and reevaluate in order to get to that point where we're starting to see that growth. But, it's having the ability to stop and see things in the moment. Even when the little things happen, right? We were supposed to bring someone on full time, that ended up changing very last minute. And instead of like panicking and, it was almost like, just another uncertain thing, another uncertain variable to address. I mean, you get so used to it at a certain point, but it's always being comfortable with the uncertainty, always being comfortable with being able to be nimble and change things, because it's just the nature of starting a business. It's the nature of doing anything new. There's a lot of uncertainty, and you can build as many systems as possible, but you can't always account for everything.
I think you nailed it. I've always been a big believer that if you're a good person and you're doing good things, then a lot of things happen for a reason. And I think so many things in our business have happened for a reason that have allowed us to just take a step back and see the big picture to then realize what the next step is. He just mentioned this girl that we had assumed was going to be coming on full time. If that scenario hadn't happened, I don't think we would have taken the necessary step back to reevaluate the situation and say, we need to change 2 things to make this a lot easier to obtain. In similar scenarios too, for our growth, even in our physical space, we were like, oh, we're doing fine here. And it wasn't until like this space came available where we're like, oh, well, maybe we are growing out of this. And we're looking around, we take a step back and we're like, that explains why all this shit is sitting around in this place, is because we don't have any room for it. So, I agree with everything Adam said. There's no regimen. You have to be willing to understand and adapt to the ups and downs. I mean, it is a roller coaster of emotions without a doubt when you're getting started. And as long as you can, handle that for the most part, and as long as you can take a step back and realize the growth and what you're doing, what's working, what's not, I think you'll see a lot of success.
Yeah, I think we started to kind of fall in love with the uncertainty, because that's when the most amazing things happen, right? When, we anticipated something happening and then it didn't, but then we learned so much from it and it changed the course of something in such an amazing way for the business. Well, in the moment it was frustrating, but a week or 2 later it was, wow, that was a relief. That was, amazing that we saw it then rather than, 2 years from now. So, we're starting to really embrace the uncertainty and really welcome it, because we know that, changing the routine, things out of the ordinary, that's where we learn from it and grow.
one of the best examples I remember is one of the first spaces that we wanted to move into. We had tried to get the lease signed and everything. We wanted to move in there as fast as we possibly could. It was really far for me, but it was close for you. We thought it was going to be the best place for us to start. And we ended up not getting the lease. And we were totally bummed about it. I was like, this is BS. We did everything that we could. And within weeks, the space that we're in now came available. And it would have been a total regret if we had moved into that initial space. Total regret compared to what we're in now, and you know, how we've been able to grow here, and the community that we're in, and the people that we've met here.
Yeah,
you know, it's little things like that where you just step back and you're like, wow, that worked out so well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love falling in love with the uncertainty and being nimble. These are major, major pearls. So thank you for sharing. And can you let all of us know, everyone know, where they can get more information about you guys, follow you, where they can get some information if they think they might be a candidate for, you know, your type of business?
You want to hit this one?
Yeah, I think you'll find a lot on our website. It's not fully up to date yet as far as additive manufacturing, but DiveDesignCO.com or Instagram is really the most up-to-date place as far as what we're working on. That's DiveDesignCO. Our animal prosthetics are linked to that, but that would be 3D.pets. And we also do a lot of TikToks for the animals if you're on that platform. I know people are still coming around to it.
3D.pets too.
Yep, also 3D.pets.
Yeah.
And then connect with us on LinkedIn. We're always happy to connect with people, answer questions, chat. Yeah, you have our names. Find us on LinkedIn and go from there.
Awesome. And thanks to Matt Macon, who's behind the scenes and's got your website right here scrolling. And
Thank you.
Your TikTok was amazing as well with that. I think it was probably your most recent one. I mean, the prosthetic for the dog. I mean, wow, just really, you guys have to check that out.
That's Lance. That's a perfect example of finding the roles that you fit into really well. Adam fit into that marketing or that social media marketing role really well. It's something that I've never really been truly passionate about, but he's taken and run with and has done amazing work with. Like, perfect example.
Yeah, people love the behind the scenes, and yeah, that really just, you know, connects all the dots on everything we've been talking about, finding your ideal clients and sharing the story, right? We talked about how powerful stories are. So guys, thank you so much for joining today. This was absolutely awesome. People, you know, please reach out to Adam and Alex. These guys are incredible. Their website, all their social media, yep, available. If you need anything from me, reach out. Guys, we will talk to you soon.
All right, Lance, you're the man. Thank you for having us.
Okay, thanks guys. Bye.
See you.